Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So I want to go over some news for the Philadelphia Eagles involving the coaching staff, some switches, some things that were going on, and I think we are kind of getting an idea of who the leading candidate for defensive coordinator is. So I'd rather go over a few things, some updated switches on coaching, and other stuff like that. So let's get straight into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
What is going on, guys? Everyone's having a fantastic day. I know the offseason just started, and I know we already want the season to start already, and we want the free agency process to start. The draft, and I know it's gonna come really quick, guys. It's gonna get here as fast as you could blink your eyes. I don't even know how many days we've been to the offseason, but it's very early process right now. And I think we need to learn about what's going on with the coaching candidates for defensive coordinator. Obviously, OC is already done, not official yet with Brian Johnson, but as you could tell, the Eagles have not interviewed anybody for offensive coordinator because they are promoting from within with Brian Johnson. So feel really good about that move a lot, guys, and I think we should definitely be talking about it more. Now, it looks like Vance Joseph did have his interview with Nick Sirianni for one day, and then he had his interview with the next day, two interviews, and the next day he had an interview with Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie. It seems as of right now that Vance Joseph is the leading candidate to be defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles and the Denver Broncos, for two teams as of right now. So, like I said, I think when you take anybody that's available right now that is technically available, maybe some might say Lovie Smith, but I haven't heard anything on him. So what I'm taking from what is available, by what we're hearing information-wise, that Vance Joseph is probably going to be the best guy for this job. Okay, best guy for this job. Statistically, his defenses are great, very aggressive, and doesn't take his foot off the gas, which is a good thing. So, as of right now, Vance Joseph is the leading candidate for the Philadelphia Eagles, in my opinion, from how this meeting did go. So it should be interesting in the coming days what happens, who the hire will be, whether it'll be another week. We'll see. There more information. More information actually came about with Jim Leonard, the defensive coordinator or former defensive coordinator for Wisconsin. Now, there was a lot of interest between Jim Leonard and the Eagles. So it says that Jim Leonard mutually decided they would not move forward with the DC candidacy per league sources. He had planned to undergo hip surgery and sit out coaching for a year, but when Eagles' job opened, both sides had interest in discussing the position, which they did last week. Ultimately, they decided it wasn't the right time. So, looks like Jim Leonard is out for DC. I know that a lot of Eagles fans are really excited about him. Some Eagles fans were mentioning that, Wisconsin's in a weak conference, blah blah blah. But if the guy can coach, the guy can coach. And it looks like Jim Leonard is out as defensive coordinator, or at least as a candidate. It could have been just for personal reasons. It could have maybe he just made an ultimate choice where he was about to get hip surgery, and then the Eagles called him when he was like, oh, I need to postpone a lot of my personal stuff. And then I think at the end of the day, maybe Jim Leonard just wanted to focus on himself a little bit more, because realistically, he wanted to take a year off from coaching after he was replaced by a Cincinnati coach. A lot of Wisconsin fans are really surprised over it, to be honest. So, interesting enough, I didn't think he would be backing out, but it looks like Jim Leonard is off of the table for at least a head coaching, a defensive coordinator position for the Eagles as of right now. So, a little bit of a shocker, but, it is what it is. People have, maybe he had personal stuff he was dealing with. Third on the news as of right now, it looks like Miles Sanders is really trying to get the Eagles to re-sign him. I mean, he left a post up of the same thing he said a couple weeks ago, telling, he had the press conference a couple weeks ago, and he explained, Howie Roseman, I really want, I love Howie Roseman. I hope you love me too. Wants to re-sign with the Eagles. And look, there is a lot of stuff going around with these running backs, and there was some rumors about the Eagles having as a landing spot for Saquon Barkley, wanting to get paid, 15 over 16 mil a year when the Giants were only going to pay him $12.5 million. If there's a free agent running back I would re-sign, it's going to be Miles Sanders. I don't know if they can get it done unless Miles Sanders is going to take a pay cut, which I can't blame him for walking. I'm not going to be mad at Howie if Miles Sanders walks. It's going to be heartbreaking because he's one of my favorite players on the team. But we got to figure this running back position out. I don't know if Kenneth Gainwell is going to be the number one back here. Had a really, really strong postseason, which I really did like. He kind of lifted my eyes a little bit more onto what a player he could be. But is it promising? I don't know. I don't believe the Eagles in drafting a running back early. I just don't see that happening. You have an offensive line that's going to be good for years now with Cam Jurgens, coming into the mix next year. And I'm telling you, your offensive line, the left side especially, is very strong. Kelsey's probably going to stay here another year. I don't think Kelsey's going to retire. That's just me. I think Jurgens will play the right guard spot. When you have an offensive line like that, you really don't need to sign running backs to big money. Take the Tennessee Titans as an example where Derrick Henry gets a lot of carries, but when your offensive line gets hurt, it's almost to where, the productivity goes down and you don't want to build around your running back. We build around from the trenches to the quarterback and outside of those trench positions. And that's why this offensive line, defensive line has been good for a long time, because I figured we make some other moves this offseason. The Eagles will have some cap space and see what they do, but putting money in a running back right now when there's that many free agents on defense and whatever's going on is going on. So I don't know if there's even any room for Miles Sanders unless he's like, I want to get paid, but I don't need to be one of the highest paid players. I mean, luckily for us, he only had one 1,000-yard season. Luckily in 2019, I loved how Doug used him. 2020, barely ran him the ball with Doug. 21, Nick took over play calling for 6-7 games, and they barely ran the ball with him until they got the run game going second half of the season. And then this year was just an absolute crazy year. Miles Sanders obviously being healthy was a major factor, and he would have had a lot more yards. There was like 5 or 6 games where Miles Sanders didn't even get the ball 5 times in the first half. I mean, that's how bad it was with the Eagles and how the usage of Miles Sanders. His statistics would have been so much better if they used him more. But I just, look, as much as I want him back, I just don't see it happening. I just don't see there's anything promising about him returning, as much as he could beg for it all he wants. Look, if they sign him, I'll be shocked. I'll actually be more surprised than I realized I would be, because I just don't see them putting money into that position. And what I can't stand is, and look, this happens to every team. I can't stand when you draft a player, does really well for you, and then he leaves, goes to another team, plays really well. And that's why I can't. I don't like. And Howie likes to re-sign guys coming off of their, after their rookie deals. It makes him look better, and as a GM. And it's not that Miles is a bad player; he's a fantastic player. But because I desperately emotionally want Miles to stay with the same guys and to stay with Hurts and what he gives this run game. I mean, I don't know. I think the Eagles need an upgrade at running back regardless if Miles walks. I just think it needs to happen. As much as I like Kenny G, I just don't know. I just don't know if he could be the premier guy here. And that's, Boston Scott's a free agent, so really you're down to whatever, but you're down to Kenny G and whoever's on practice squad between Trey Sermon or I forgot the other guy from Oklahoma that we got, Kennedy Brooks. I mean, there's really nothing there. So, I mean, the Eagles are going to add to the position. There's no doubt about it. But like I said, even if they don't sign Miles, I don't see them going into the draft early and getting a running back. That running back from Alabama I really like a lot. Reminds me of Alvin Kamara. And obviously Bijan Robinson's going to be talked about a lot as the best running back in this draft, pretty much. But who knows how these players will slide down. You never know what the Eagles can get. So it should be really interesting with Miles. But, Miles really wants to come back. I don't blame him. But it's just going to be a really tough – that's one of the tough decisions is re-signing him. Definitely, I think Bradbury's a tough one, and Miles Sanders is going to be a tough one to definitely re-sign for the future. So, other than that, it looks like safety coach the Eagles' defensive quality control, I forgot, I think his name is – Joe Casper, as of right now, is signing with the Dolphins as a safeties coach. Sorry, I can't talk today. I had this guy's name in my head, and I had to read it because I totally forgot about it. So we lose our defensive quality coach, our defensive quality guy for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's just a little bit of news that came out, so not a big deal. I guess they'll need to find a new one. And they've interviewed another, and this one's funny because I just talked about this a couple days ago with Glenn Schuman, the defensive coordinator for Georgia. We talked about the Wikipedia. If you type his name in, it came up as Eagles defensive coordinator, which was really weird. And then all of a sudden, there was an actual interview with Glenn Schuman, which was kind of crazy. So, I mean, look, they're keeping their options open. The Vance Joseph thing isn't promising, but because there's competition with Denver to be the defensive coordinator as well over there. But Glenn Schuman could be another guy that comes in and, does really well. Aggressive defense is really good. And obviously knows Nakobe Dean, and probably the perfect coach that knows how to use Nakobe Dean would probably be a big thing for him independently. And then Jordan Davis, obviously, that really needs to step up and have a big year. I mean, a big leap going to the second year and hopefully conditioned very well. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's really it. We're probably going to hear more news in the coming days on more coaching, who's going to be hired. Hopefully Brian Johnson's just hired soon. This should be the first thing that's pretty much done at this point. The Jalen Hurts extension, we haven't heard much on it, but it's going to get done as fast as possible. The Chauncey Gardner-Johnson franchise tag, if they can't get a long-term deal done. So what we have till March 4th, I think, till the tags. I forgot the date for the tags, but I got to read it up again. So we have like another week until, if teams are going to be tagging players, they got to do it by a certain deadline, which I think is March 4th. And that's it. That's really it. So we're kind of still waiting, but we're hearing more rumors, and I'm here to cover it all. So if you lasted this long into the video, if you want to subscribe to the channel. We cover the Eagles every single day. Make sure you like the video as well. We'll have more content out every single day. And getting ready, man. We're getting ready to get this. I want to see what Howie Roseman does this offseason. That's really going to surprise us to get us back into the big game next year. So you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.